Hey, lovebirds, and welcome back to Love Hackers. I'm Alex Carter, your go-to guy for all things dating.
And I'm Sophie Tanaka.
And we're about to dive into some pretty fascinating dating insights
It's gonna be good.
from someone who's been in the game for over a decade.
Oh, yeah.
This person actually had a moment where they felt like they were
Like,
a master of female psychology.
right, they actually call themselves a master.
Bold.
Which is a little bold, but hey, confidence is key, right? Anyway, this self-proclaimed master ended up in a serious relationship
Uh-oh.
and thought they'd found the one.
I can already sense some foreshadowing here.
Right. He was all in convinced that she was different from every other woman he'd ever met.
Oof. This sounds like the setup for a classic tale of love and, well, maybe not so much love in the end.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The relationship crashed and burned,
Ouch.
leaving our expert feeling like a fool.
Yeah.
Imagine dedicating years to teaching others how to navigate the dating world,
Right.
only to fall headfirst into the very traps you warned everyone about.
That's got to sting. I bet that experience really shook his perspective on dating.
It definitely did. He realized that even when you think you've got it all figured out, life can throw you a curveball. And that brings us to his core message. If you don't use it,
You lose it.
you lose it. He's talking about dating skills, but this applies to anything in life, right? It's like that saying, practice makes perfect.
Right.
But in this case, it's more like practice keeps you sharp.
So true. Whether it's hitting the gym, playing an instrument, or, yes, flirting and connecting with people, you've got to keep those skills honed. So what did this reformed dating guru suggest for getting back in the game after a major setback?
Well, he got really real about the importance of putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
even if it means facing rejection. He basically said, no one likes getting shot down, but the rewards of pushing past that fear are totally worth it.
He's not wrong. The rush of meeting someone new, the possibility of building a real connection, those are pretty powerful motivators to
Right.
overcome any fear of rejection.
Exactly. And he actually claimed that the sex part is easy.
Hold on. Did he really say that sex is the easy part?
He did. It's definitely a provocative claim.
I feel like a lot of people would argue with that statement.
For sure. But his point is that if you're comfortable with yourself, confident in your own skin, and not afraid to express your desires, the physical aspect of a relationship tends to fall into place more naturally.
I see what he's getting at. It's not about mastering some manipulative pickup artist routine. It's about cultivating genuine confidence
Yes.
and self-assurance.
Absolutely. He even shared that after his breakup slump, he started getting more attention from women,
Sure.
but realized that many of them weren't the kind of partners he was actually looking for.
Interesting. So it's not just about getting any attention. It's about attracting the right kind of people.
Exactly. Which leads us to his concept of pre-selection.
Pre-selection. I gotta admit, that sounds a little strategic.
I know, right? But think of it this way. If you're surrounded by amazing women, friends, colleagues, whoever it sends a signal to other women that you're someone worth knowing. It's like a social endorsement, you know? Hey, if all these awesome women enjoy his company, he must be pretty great.
Okay, so it's not about bragging about past conquests.
No.
It's more about building a life that naturally attracts quality people.
Yes.
Like if you're living a fulfilling life, pursuing your passions and surrounding yourself with great people, it speaks volumes about who you are.
Exactly. You're basically creating an atmosphere of abundance and desirability.
Hmm.
And on the flip side of pre-selection, he talks about neediness.
Neediness.
Yeah.
We've all encountered that at some point.
Right.
But what exactly does it look like in the dating world?
It can manifest in different ways.
Yeah.
Like constantly seeking validation, being overly agreeable, fishing for compliments, or putting someone else's needs way above your own.
Wow.
Essentially, it comes across as desperate and insecure, which can push people away.
So it's about striking that balance between showing genuine interest and maintaining a sense of self-assuredness.
Yes.
How do you walk that tightrope without falling into the needy trap?
Well, he emphasizes remembering your own worth. You don't need anyone to complete you're already a whole and valuable person. He also suggests focusing on building a fulfilling life independent of your relationship status.
Right.
When you're happy and fulfilled on your own, you approach dating from a place of strength, not scarcity.
That makes so much sense. The more you invest in yourself and your own happiness, the more attractive you become to others. And that brings us to his next point, which is about having passions outside of dating. He really stressed the importance of having something else going on in your life.
Right. He believes that having hobbies and interests makes you a more well-rounded and engaging person. Think about it. Who would you rather have a conversation with? Someone who only talks about dating, or someone who can share stories about their travels, creative pursuits, or volunteer work?
Hands down, the person with a life outside of just trying to find a date. Passion is contagious, and it
Yes.
sparks interesting conversations. It shows that you have depth and that you're not solely focused on finding a partner,
Right.
which can be incredibly attractive.
Absolutely. It's a major confidence booster because it demonstrates that you're not desperate or needy.
Right.
You're living a fulfilling life, and you're open to sharing that with someone special. Plus, having shared passions can be a fantastic way to connect with potential partners.
So invest in your hobbies, explore new interests, and watch how it positively impacts your dating life.
Yeah.
He also mentioned something about seeing everyone as a person,
Yes.
not just a potential conquest. Why is that important?
He argues that this mindset can help reduce approach anxiety. If you view everyone as just another human being with their own hopes, fears, and dreams, it takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
You're not trying to win them over. You're simply connecting with another soul on a human level.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It turns approaching someone from a high-stakes game
Right?
into a more relaxed and genuine interaction.
And even if that particular interaction doesn't lead to romance, you can still learn something from every person you meet.
Totally.
It's all about personal growth,
Yeah.
right?
Each interaction is an opportunity to expand your horizons, learn new things, and develop your social skills.
Welcome back to Love Hackers. We're dissecting some really insightful dating advice from someone who's been there, done that, and learned a thing or two along the way.
We've already uncovered some real gems, haven't we?
Yeah.
The importance of continuous learning, the courage to face rejection, the power of pre-selection.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about creating that atmosphere of abundance and confidence.
And speaking of confidence,
Yes.
this expert had a rather interesting suggestion for projecting the pre-selected vibe.
Okay.
I'm a little hesitant to even bring this up,
Oh, really?
but for the sake of thoroughness,
Okay.
let's dive in.
Okay, brace yourself, folks.
Yeah.
He actually suggests talking about your beautiful ex-girlfriends,
Yeah.
tactfully, of course.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Isn't that a risky move?
I know.
I mean, who wants to hear about their dates' past relationships, especially if those exes were supposedly drop-dead gorgeous?
It seems counterintuitive, right?
Totally. But his reasoning is that it subtly implies that you're used to being around attractive women. It's like saying beauty is normal to me. I don't get flustered.
So it's about conveying that sense of experience and confidence
Yes.
without sounding like you're bragging
Right.
or still hung up on your exes.
Exactly. But honestly, I think there are more authentic and less potentially awkward ways to achieve the same effect.
Yep.
Instead of name-dropping exes, why not focus on genuine self-improvement?
I like that.
Become the kind of person who naturally attracts beautiful, interesting people
Right.
by cultivating your passions and living a fulfilling life.
Now that's advice I can get behind. Building a life you love is far more appealing and effective than trying to impress someone with stories about your past romances.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of passions, remember how this expert emphasized the importance of having interests outside of dating?
We did.
He believes it's crucial to have something else going on in your life beyond just the pursuit of romantic connections.
We touched on that briefly before,
Yeah.
but I'd love to hear more about why it's so important. What makes having hobbies and interests such a game changer in the dating world?
Well, for starters, it makes you more interesting. Imagine you're on a date. Who would you rather talk to? Someone who can only discuss their dating app strategies, or someone who lights up when they talk about their volunteer work, their photography hobby, or their latest travel adventure?
Easy choice.
Huh.
The person with a passion for something beyond just dating is way more engaging. It's like their enthusiasm is contagious,
Right.
and it sparks all sorts of interesting conversation topics.
Exactly. It shows you have depth, you're curious about the world, and you're not solely focused on finding a partner.
Right.
And that can be incredibly attractive, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It demonstrates a sense of independence and self-assuredness,
Yes.
which is far more appealing than someone who seems desperate or clingy.
It also provides common ground for connecting with potential partners. Imagine meeting someone who shares your love for hiking, cooking, or indie music. Instant conversation starter, right?
And that shared passion can create a strong bond. You already have something in common, a foundation to build on. It's like a shortcut to building rapport and connection.
Precisely. So my advice, invest in your hobbies, explore new interests, and don't be afraid to let your passions shine. You'll be amazed at how it positively impacts your dating life. Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about approaching women. This expert has a really interesting perspective on overcoming anxiety and that dreaded fear of rejection.
I'm all ears. Approaching can be nerve-wracking, especially if you're not feeling super confident. What's his secret weapon for tackling those pre-approach jitters?
His advice is surprisingly simple. Remember that everyone's a person.
Okay.
Even the most beautiful, intimidating woman is just another human being with her own hopes, fears, and insecurities.
It's like taking them off that pedestal we often put them on. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you see everyone as an equal, it takes the pressure off. You're not trying to win them over.
Right.
You're simply engaging with another human being.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. It makes approaching feel less like a performance and more like a genuine attempt to connect.
And isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely. When you approach from a place of authenticity and respect, you're more likely to have a positive interaction, regardless of whether it leads to a romantic connection.
I remember he also mentioned that even if an interaction doesn't lead to a date, you can still learn something from every person you meet. It's all about embracing those opportunities for personal growth.
I love that mindset. It turns the whole dating game into a giant personal development workshop. Every encounter, whether it's a fleeting conversation or a longer interaction, has the potential to teach you something new about yourself, about communication, or even about what you're looking for in a partner.
So instead of viewing rejection as a failure,
Right.
we can reframe it as a valuable learning experience.
Exactly. Remember, approaching isn't about conquering or winning. It's about connection, respect, and the potential for shared experience and growth.
And that brings us to the next crucial step. Once you've overcome that initial fear and approached someone, how do you figure out if there's someone you actually want to date?
Good question.
That's where the importance of defining your priorities comes in.
Okay.
This expert stresses that it's not just about going for the most attractive person in the room, but about finding someone who aligns with your values and your vision for the future.
So it's about having standards beyond just looks.
Absolutely. He encourages us to ask ourselves some tough questions. What qualities are truly important to me in a partner? What kind of relationship do I want to build? Once you're clear on those things, you can start looking for someone who truly fits the bill.
That's crucial because if you're not clear on your priorities, you're likely to end up in relationships that don't fulfill you in the long run. And who wants to waste their time and energy on
And
that?
no one. And you know what? This expert goes a step further.
Oh, really?
He suggests that we not only define our priorities, but also actively design a life that attracts the kind of partners we desire.
Design a life. That sounds intriguing. What does he mean by that?
He's talking about creating a life that reflects your values and interests. For example, if you're passionate about fitness, join a running club or volunteer at a health-focused organization. If you're an art enthusiast, take classes, visit galleries, or even host your own art nights.
I see. It's not just about putting yourself in the right places to meet people.
Right.
It's about cultivating a lifestyle that naturally attracts people who share your passions and values.
Precisely. And this approach can be incredibly powerful.
How so?
When you're genuinely living a life you love, you naturally radiate confidence and attract people who are drawn to your energy.
Oh,
You become a magnet for like-minded individuals.
it's like you're aligning your inner world with your outer world,
Yeah.
which creates a much stronger foundation for authentic connection.
Exactly. And that leads to much more fulfilling relationships than simply chasing after anyone who catches your eye.
I love that. So it's not just about finding a partner, it's about becoming a more attractive and interesting person overall. And that's something we can all benefit from regardless of our relationship status.
Yeah.
Now let's delve into a topic that can be a bit controversial.
Okay.
Honesty in dating. This expert has a very strong stance against lying.
Oh, really?
Even those little white lies we sometimes tell to make ourselves sound more impressive.
Right. He even admitted to doing it himself in the past, going so far as to use a fake British accent once to pick up a girl.
Oh, wow.
But he says it wasn't his proudest moment, and he's learned a lot since then.
It sounds like that experience was a bit of a turning point for him.
It was.
What's his reasoning for being so adamantly against dishonesty in dating?
He emphasizes that building trust and authenticity is essential for any lasting relationship. And you simply can't do that if you're starting things off with a lie, no matter how small or insignificant it might seem.
So it all comes back to being genuine,
Yes.
both with yourself and with potential partners.
Yeah.
You're much more likely to find a truly compatible partner if you're being authentic from the very beginning.
Exactly. Because even if you manage to spark someone's interest by pretending to be someone you're not, the truth will eventually come out.
Right.
And when it does, it can damage the trust and foundation you've built.
Honesty is truly the best policy,
It is.
both for attracting a compatible partner and for building a solid foundation for a lasting relationship.
Got it. And it's not just about being honest with your partner, it's also about being honest with yourself. Are you truly living in alignment with your values? Are you pursuing your passions? Are you putting in the effort to become the best version of yourself?
Those are some powerful questions, and they really highlight how honesty is the cornerstone of a fulfilling life both in and out of relationships. Speaking of fulfilling lives, let's wrap up part 2 here and take a quick break. When we come back in part 3, we'll explore this expert's perspective on the transformative power of love. We're back for the final part of our Love Hackers deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground: honesty, self-improvement, the power of passions. What's this last takeaway all about?
This final piece is about something that's often seen as elusive and unpredictable. Ooh.
I like it.
The transformative power of love.
Oh.
Even after all his relationship ups and downs, this expert still firmly believes in love.
That's pretty incredible.
He sees it as a force for good, a catalyst for personal growth, and something worth striving for.
It's pretty inspiring considering his experience with heartbreak.
Yeah.
It would be easy to become cynical after a tough breakup, but he seems to have emerged on the other side even more committed to love.
He really has. He encourages us to focus on self-improvement, not just to attract partners,
Okay.
but to become the best versions of ourselves. He believes that the more we cultivate love within ourselves,
I get.
the more we'll be able to give and receive love in our relationships.
That's a good point. That's a good shift in focus. From finding love to becoming more loving. It's about nurturing those qualities that make us great partners, great friends, and ultimately great human beings.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And he made a really interesting point about how giving love freely without any expectation of reciprocation can be incredibly empowering. It's about opening our hearts and letting love flow through us without attaching conditions or demanding anything in return.
That's a beautiful concept. It takes the pressure off needing to find love and puts the emphasis on simply being loving. It's about being a source of love rather than constantly seeking it from external sources.
It's a much healthier perspective. When we approach life and relationships from a place of abundance and self-love, we're far more likely to attract the love we desire.
It's like that saying, what you seek is seeking you.
Exactly.
When we focus on our own growth, happiness, and radiate love and positivity, we naturally draw in people who are on a similar wavelength.
Absolutely. And that's when the real magic happens. When two people come together from a place of wholeness, both committed to their personal growth and supporting each other's journey, you have the foundation for a truly fulfilling and lasting relationship.
So it all circles back to self-love. It's the key to attracting healthy, loving relationships and living a more joyful and fulfilling life overall.
Beautifully said.
Well, folks, there you have it. Our deep dive into some surprisingly profound dating advice. Remember, it's not just about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person. I'm Alex Carter.
And I'm Sophie Tanaka.
Signing off on another episode of Love Hackers, your daily dose of dating wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode with all your single friends. Until next time, keep those hearts open and those love vibes flowing.